Namaste. My name is Amit, and this is a small update on this YouTube channel, Mahabharata. Uh, so, I started this channel to document interviews, discussions, and a whole lot of content on Advaita Vedanta as propagated by Adi Shankaracharya. So, when I started this channel, uh, it was probably 9 years since I had started studying Advaita Vedanta quite devotedly. Uh, Devotedly in the sense that I had a reverence towards Advaita Vedanta and towards Adi Shankaracharya when I started it out. Not necessarily uh, studying it under a guru or as a scholar or for certification or for anything else. I started this purely as a truth seeker. When I started, Vivekananda came up, and I was like, oh, fascinated with his sayings, and you had the small booklets where you had the what do you call that? There's something the sayings of Vivekananda, what he used to say. And so one thing that the one word that stuck with me was Vedanta, and I was hellbent on, because I wanted to know more about Vedanta, but obviously it was not the internet age yet, so it was difficult for me as a kid, to get my hands on those books. Either ways, I kind of stumbled upon Advaita Vedanta, and then started looking at everything from that perspective. You see, if you read the Upanishads, then I used to connect it with Advaita Vedanta. If I read the Bhagavad Gita, which was personally for me, which was very difficult to understand. People used to say karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That was the defining shloka of Gita. Someone had said in a talk. He was a chief guest, and I forgot his name. He was quite a popular figure. He was also a quote unquote Gandhian. So when we meet so-called experts, we also see these propaganda that has worked on them, that these things. It was clear for me that Gandhi was a traitor, and it was just shoved down our throats. And he was anything but Mahatma. But we have people who have these blind spots, or who have these what do you call a clear weaknesses, and which is a sign of not being very smart, intelligent, or a prabuddha, or a scholar. You can't respect a man who falls for such a silly propaganda. But that used to be the thing. Personally, I had no respect for people who were not like really scholarly scholars. Not many people that I respected, which is also the reason why I didn't study under a guru. I always went to the source. I always went to the books. I always went to the original works of the so-called acharyas. Because right now I'm not an Advaitan, because I was disillusioned probably a year and a half ago. It's a whole story behind it. But for now, for the channel update, yes, I'm not an Advaitan anymore. This channel was set up to document um, everything about Advaita, because You see, Advaita, it was very difficult to get the view, a common view from contemporary Advaitins, because if you talk to 10 Advaitins, all 10 of them have their own versions of what they have studied and understood. So it was an interesting phase in my life where I thought maybe I will put all those different viewpoints under one single umbrella. Um, but it was not feasible for me to do that. I did document. I actually went. I'm from. I was from Bangalore. I mean, I was staying in Bangalore. I don't stay in Bangalore anymore. Um, because it's kind of choking hazard now. I had to move out. But anyway, I was in Bangalore and I went all the way to Sringeri, hoping that I would, you know, get the knowledge from the source, because I was also part of a forum. And you know what happens with these forums is, it becomes very toxic. You would think places where you discuss Adhyatma would be free from toxicity, but it's far from it. I mean, these debate forums, uh, these really didn't help me. It kind of gave me the picture, but it didn't help me solidify anything. I wanted a proper, one single proper viewpoint, which was not just an opinion, but the truth. So I figured I would go to Sringeri myself, because it wasn't that far away, really. Uh, I went there and I found it very difficult to speak to a scholar, because it's more like a tourist spot than anything. And if you have to really get into those scholarly circles, it's very tedious. It's very tedious. You will have to buy into all the, uh, you know, their way of life. You completely have to. It was a whole different thing, because a lot of Vakyartha sabhas happen. A lot of things, uh, happen there. But it was hard for a casual visitor who'd be interested in knowing how knowledge is transmitted, and to know what path is the actual true representation of Advaita Vedanta. It's funny because Advaita itself is not a single stream. Within Advaita, there are a lot of different streams, there are a lot of different opinions within the Advaitans, the ancient Advaitans. But that's whole another topic. But I did went and I met a few scholars in Rajiv Gandhi Sanskrit University, not in the Matha, mind you. I stayed there for a couple of days in Matha, and you wouldn't believe if I told you what happened. But right under the nose of the then Jagat Guru, he's now retired. I mean, he doesn't do public appearance more. But I don't want to talk about individuals or institutions. This is not about that. But anyhow, that was the case. I went there. I did a whole lot of things for 9 years. No, I would say for 9 years, I dabbled in this Advaita Vedanta. It was devotional. It was reverential. I try to apply those principles in my real life. Okay. I was not completely divorced from my real life. I was living my life. And I wanted Advaita to make a real impact, in my personal life. But it didn't. But what did though was Mahabharata, because through Mahabharata I came to realize that the true Siddhanta of the Vedas is not Advaita or Dvaita or Vishishta Advaita or any other medieval Vedantic schools, but it's actually Sankhya and Yoga. So I'll hopefully make more videos about this Sankhya and Yoga, uh, if possible. Um, but as far as this channel is concerned, so I'll be making those videos on another channel. I'll leave the link in the description. You can subscribe to it if you are interested. But as far as my Advaita journey is concerned, it has come to a complete stop, right? And I'm convinced that these medieval Vedantic schools are, they're not very different from Buddhism or Jainism or other heretic non-Vedic sects. They appropriate a lot of Vedic terms like Vedanta, Advaita, this and that. But it's basically completely different. I mean, if you one mistake that I did was I didn't do comparative study because I just wanted to know what the truth was. Okay, because I was metaphorically thirsty to know the real truth, and I was not in a state of mind to think about other schools and going after them, defeating, quote unquote, defeating them, right? Uh, in their own minds, in their own books, all the schools defeat all the other schools, but in reality, it's just nonsense, complete waste of time. I would say I wasted 16 years of my life on this Vedanta, trying to, excruciatingly trying to make sense out of it. But in the end, it was the Mahabharata that slowly captured me, slowly, completely enveloped me. Uh, and, I'm so thankful, grateful. I can't express in my words my gratitude to Vedavyasa, who is the only true teacher as far as I'm concerned. uh, uh, for me personally. And we are seeing the downfall of these sannyasis who are surrounded by 100 assistants. The so-called traditional acharyas. They always wear uh, a traditional dress. Okay, it's a taboo for them to wear anything else. But it's not a taboo for them if they eat whatever they like to, right? You go to some fancy restaurant or any other nice place to get some good food, right? If the sannyasi does the same thing, then what sets him apart, right? The only difference is his dress, okay, and the hypocrisy and the cognitive dissonance, as they say, from what you study, what you speak, to what you do, because these great sannyasis, they live like kings basically. They don't do anything. They don't do anything worthwhile. They don't do anything productive. Even the traditional acharyas, so-called acharyas, they want to travel by cars. They go to the US, okay, right? They eat whatever they want. They have so many assistants preparing them really good food, right? They have these sprawling estates all over the country, right? They have donations pouring in. They have no anxiety as to what will happen tomorrow. I need to work. I haven't paid my bills. Nothing at all. So this is the state of the so-called sannyasis and the yatis of today, and it's because the stagnation of intellectual traditions in India, the academicians and the traditional acharyas have hit a wall, in my opinion. Uh, and that's mainly due to these medieval Vedantic squabbles. We waste our time on this. unending, pseudo analytical, pseudoscience that has no real world effect. You see, uh, as soon as I switched over to the concepts, right, grasping the concepts that are in the Mahabharata and in Sankhya Yoga, it made a real difference in my life. But I need to make other videos. I can't cover everything in this one single video, but suffice to say that it's the end of the journey for me as far as Advaita is concerned. So go over to the new channel chapter wise. I'm not sure if I'll be um, publishing videos regularly, but it's free. You can subscribe to another YouTube channel. You won't lose anything. And if you're offended, then don't. I know this can offend a lot of people, but I have to put it out. I am sort of compelled to make this video because I don't want anything out of it, honestly. I just thought this might help others. This might help that one person out of maybe crores of people for whom it might be useful, because this was the pitfall for me. I wasted 16 years of my life. Um, I feel like a fool. I feel like an idiot. But I hope others don't make the same mistakes. And I would recommend people who are starting out to do comparative study. Okay, comparative study. And always stick to Sanskrit, Sanskritam. You have to get a grasp of the language, Sanskritam. And I think that was the key for me to unlock this what I think is an unprecedented realization about Sankhya and yoga, because nobody has the time or patience to go through a lot of bhashya literature. So tedious. You will have to sacrifice a lot to be committed. And to commit yourself, to make that decision, to make that sacrifice, you need to have an incentive, and there's no incentive. At least for me, there was not. So somehow, by the grace of Vyasa, I would say, I came across the real Mahabharata, and I studied Gita in its original without the commentaries, bhashyas. And you do that, and you will know that Sankhya Yoga is not only the heart of the Gita, but the entirety of the Mahabharata. Even before the Gita, there is Sankhya Yoga. Even after Gita in Shanti Parva, there is elaborations on Sankhya Yoga. And the scholars, the academicians, the traditionalists, everyone puts it as proto Sankhya. Some Sankhya thoughts here and there, and they would say it was not crystallized and then it became something, and they have their own theories, of course, these charlatans, these pakhandis. I mean, yeah, sure, whatever, but it's for the truth seekers. If you're a genuine truth seeker, this video is for you. I mean, i'm not I'm not a yogi. I'm not a realized soul, because you see, getting to know about the truth of Sankhya is only halfway through. It's only half the work done. The other half, or I would say more than a half, more than half of it is constitutes yoga. Okay. So if we don't even get to Sankhya, forget about getting yoga, right? Nobody knows what is pranayama. Nobody has attained siddhi in pranayama. So, so if you study the yoga literature, if you study from a yoga point of view, if you study the Yoga Sutras, uh, so the Yoga Sutras also talk about the Sankhya. system. Sankhya and yoga, they're not two different systems, but they're the same. So, yeah, this is the beginning of my Sankhya journey. I mean, it's been a year and a half. I have been more inclined towards yoga than I was before. Uh, I'm practicing more and more yoga, stillness. I think that's the natural outcome of studying Sankhya. But there's no end to study. There's no end to yoga until you attain higher and higher levels of perfection. But you will have to get out of these medieval Vedantic squabbles for that. It's very difficult. It's like a thick forest or like a deep ocean, a rough ocean, right? It's very difficult. So I hope it gets you thinking one way or the other. This was the update. So it's the end of Advaita journey for me. So long, Advaita. You won't be missed. But now it's a new journey for me in Sankhya and yoga. I'm disillusioned by all the 100,000 mathas and the useless sannyasis with their assistants, with their cars, with their lifestyles. That's not the lifestyle of a yati. A yati dharma. If you look at the Mahabharata, you'll find a lot of men, not only the renunciates, even the kings, the royal sages. Yayati, for example, so many kings, they go to the forest. Why? In search of solitude. Now that is renunciation. Not wearing an orange dress, sitting in your matha surrounded by people, indulging in all sorts of worldly affairs. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's perverse nature of time, isn't it? But yeah, this is a start. Just subscribe to my channel if you like it. If you hate it, I can totally understand. Never see you again, block me, whatever. But if you're interested, do follow me for more. Thanks. Hope to see you again on chapter wise. Bye bye.